Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. I have a little runny nose going on. I think I might be getting a little allergies. We are in segment 2. You are watching Hans 33.3 FM. We are the voices in your head. If you're tuned in here, you are on the right frequency. Stick with us. We just covered the debate debacle with Joe Biden, and we're going to be rolling right into our next segment. We're going to stick with the politics for a little bit. You know, there hasn't been much political news going on. We're going to stick with the politics here, and we're going to cover the freeing of Julian Assange. Give it up, folks. We all love Assange. Should have had my phone out there to do some little clapping. There we go. Thank you for the soundboard. We're still getting things figured out, guys. I would just want to touch on this real quick. This is going to be episode 1, full length. We've tried to do 2 episodes. We've had technical difficulties. I'm going to be uploading clips from one of them, but we're still figuring out the format. We're figuring out how to do everything. There's a lot fucking going on here, man. I'm doing a soundboard. I'm yapping. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. I'm controlling the screen, making sure there's a lot going on here, a lot of things at play. I'm really good at it, but we're only going to be getting better. So let me pull up my soundboard here, get locked in before we start talking about our boy Julian being freed. So let me shift on over here and bring up the story. Whoops, not that.
Come on,
One
man.
second here. One second here, folks. God, I'm fucking this up, guys. Like I said, this is going to be our first real episode. Thanks for sticking with us. We're only getting better. It's only getting better. So, guys, here we are. We are talking about the freeing of Julian Assange. Now, this is not... Fisher and I, as we were planning the show just minutes ago, during break, we were talking about what are we going to say about the Julian Assange arrest here? Or I'm sorry, the freeing, the unarresting of Julian Assange. And it's kind of an underwhelming story, you know? We like stories where people die. We like stories where there's a little bit of blood, a little bit of controversy, something happened. This is an anti-story in a way where a man was just freed. A man was left prison, or I guess he was held in prison, or was he living in embassies? I don't even really fucking know. Do you know? Was he actually incarcerated? Truly,
he was everywhere that he shouldn't be.
Right.
He was not doing his job, which is giving us good, juicy leaks.
Yes, and Assange, let's not get it twisted at all here. Assange, to us here on the show, Assange is a friend of the show. Assange is a hero, considered not, he is a hero to us. For those that don't know, I went to journalism school. I actually went to college. Well, technically advertising. The degree I have is in advertising, journalism, advertising, and media. So I went to journalism school, and it was fucking nuts, dude. It was like not good. Very brainwashy, very cult-like, but also funny because they didn't really teach you how to do a job. It was like the workload of middle school class. But anyway, I digress. They would always ask questions like at the beginning of this semester, who's your favorite journalist, or who do you read? And I would always say Julian Assange or Edward Snowden. But he's more of a whistleblower. Assange is, a journalist. So, and I got a lot of laughs or just like a lot of bullshit. I was always that kid in class who was just fighting with the professor and talking shit about stuff. So, yeah, Julian Assange has always been my guy. This is journalism. The journalism school that I went to didn't teach journalism. It taught you how to write in a certain format and how to be logical, I guess, and ask questions, which is just common sense. Like, can you write a story or not? Can you tell a story, craft a narrative in a way that makes sense, in a way that conveys the most important information, clearly. First and foremost, Julian Assange is a true journalist. Journalism is fighting against the powers that be through information, the exposing of information and the exposing of truth, and that's what Julian Assange did. And it's very good to see him as a free man. He should have never been locked up. He should have never been imprisoned or tried or anything. He should have been lauded as a hero, as an example to what journalists and true patriots should do. But yeah, man, it's good to see this. It's been a long time coming. Do you know how long he was gone? He was locked up for?
A couple years, I think, since.
I think it was like.
Well,
15.
I don't know if it was locked up, but he was gone and not doing his job for about 4 or 5, maybe even
No.
6 years.
I think it's been much longer, bro.
No, the last vault was 2017, 2018.
Okay. Well, WikiLeaks
Yeah.
has been active in his absence, or no? Has it
No,
not at
no.
all?
Last post is from 2018.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, it's good to see it. This was something, to talk about Trump. To go back to the debate, we're talking about Trump, how he's going to win. This was something that is obviously on the table for any president, any man that assumes the office of president, is the ability to pardon. And there are always kind of these classic, flagship people who are brought up in conversations of being worthy of pardon at any given time. And for a long time, it was Julian Assange. And Trump, being someone who wanted to drain the swamp, to make America great again, to root out corruption, and the deep state, to not pardon Julian Assange, to seemingly ignore the situation entirely, even with Assange's involvement in Hillary's emails during, the election that played a big part to him. It's interesting. There's a lot of things with Trump like this where it's just a head scratcher, where it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem to align with what he says or seems to stand for, and it doesn't seem to align with kind of the idol of Donald J. that's kind of propped up by a lot of his followers or a lot of his really true believers. So yeah, it's interesting to see it be done now. What do you think about all that?
Well, I think he serves a purpose, and
Absolutely.
it needs to be done.
Yes.
It really does need to be done. The shit in the emails, I don't care if 95% of them are just boring back and forth, setting up meetings or, oh, did you get my memo sort of thing. If the other 5%, is swirls and hot dog parties and walnut sauce, that's worth it. It's worth everything.
Yeah, there's
I
a
think.
lot that is found through that. Exactly. Yeah, there's so much importance to this, and this is we look at the future. We look at the political, social, cultural, societal direction that America and the West and just the world in general is heading in, and it looks grim, and it has looked grim, for the past decade or so. Things have not been going in the right direction, but there's always, been this sense and this reality that notion and reality that America is the best place to be, and America is the last true bastion and the last hold for Western society and freedom, and that it can be hard to point to sometimes. During COVID, it was sometimes hard to point to. It was had us all questioning, is this really America? Is this what we've come to? But I think Julian Assange, and this idea of what WikiLeaks is, and then you even look at other things like, the Freedom of Information Act, and you look at First Amendment auditors. These are the types of things that do, still exist in America that aren't allowed and don't exist in other places around the world. And that do give us hope and do give us some ground to stand on, at least. Kind of the First Amendment auditors. I've been thinking about it. I think part of this podcast might be we go out and do some First Amendment audits. I don't know.
Absolutely. These fucking suits need to get harassed.
Seriously,
legally, but harassed.
I went on an extremely long First Amendment audit kick not long ago, about the beginning of this year. It's a beautiful thing to see. I love it so much. And that doesn't exist in other countries and in other places. And even though we've lost so much of our freedom, we've compromised our rights so greatly, we still do have these outlets, these things that exist in our Constitution, in our society, in our laws, like that, the Freedom of Information Act and the First Amendment that, ultimately I do believe will prevail. And not every time. There's a lot of times freedom of speech is shut down. There are examples of Julian Assange, one of the worst examples. There are battles that are lost on this front, but overall the war will be won because of these principles that we have and because they're grounded in truth and goodness. And the war will be won through them. And, this is one battle that has been won. It's a great one. I love to see it. Shout out to Julian Assange. Happy for him. Took too long, and time to get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Let's fucking expose some more people. Let's get some really fucked up information about a lot of shit going on out there. There's a lot of shit that needs to be reckoned with. A reckoning is coming in a way. Assange, he could be one of the best soldiers. He could be one of our best guys in the reckoning. So, love to see it. Love to see it. Any more thoughts on Assange here, bro?
We missed him. We're glad to have him back, but get back to work.
Get back to work, bro. Love to see it.
Playtime's over.
Love to see it. Shout out. That's what we have for our segments. Our next song, as we take a short little break, is going to be The Velvet Underground. I'm Waiting for the Man. The man being, of course, Julian Assange. And we've all been waiting for him, and now he's back.